So let's talk about the third transformation that occurs within soils, that remains in soils. And this third transformation is nitrification. Nitrification is simply a biological process whereby ammonium is converted to nitrate. And there are two reactions that occur in this process. The first reaction is simply taking ammonium, which is the product from mineralization, in the presence of oxygen and a microorganism called Nitrosomonas. There are several others that are found in soils, Nitrosolobus, that convert ammonium to nitrite plus water plus, look at this, acid. Plants do not take up nitrite. So there's another bacteria called Nitrobacter that converts nitrite to nitrate. And if you were to add these reactions together, these two reactions together, the overall reaction is the conversion of ammonium to nitrate, and we generate acidity. So this process generates acidity. It's a natural process. Nonetheless, if we are adding fertilizers that either contain ammonium or have the ability to create ammonium, we generate acidity in our soils, FYI. The other important point for me to point out to you on this slide is that this reaction, nitrification, is aerobic because the organisms that convert ammonium to nitrate need oxygen to survive, i.e. aerobic. So there are some other factors that affect nitrification. And these other factors are relatively similar to what you learned about in terms of the factors that affect mineralization and immobilization. So first of all, ammonium supply. This reaction that you just saw on the previous slide won't drive to the right without ammonium. So when ammonium is present, nitrification increases, and it increases with increasing ammonium concentration. It's important, right? I mean, you can't have a reaction if you don't have an initial input into the reaction itself. So temperature drives this, and temperature is identical in terms of how it affects nitrification as to how it affected immobilization and mineralization. And this is just a different way of illustrating this. In the winter, there's very little nitrification. And in fact, the ammonium supply might be great in the soil. And as temperatures increase from winter to spring to summer to fall, that ammonium is converted to nitrate because of this reaction and because of rising temperatures. The sweet spot is somewhere between 25 and 35 degrees centigrade. Another factor that affects nitrification is soil aeration. Why? Because these microorganisms need oxygen to survive, as you see in the reactions here, just like you saw on several slides ago. Oxygen is needed, and this is an aerobic reaction or a series of aerobic reactions. If the soil is compacted to a high degree, then aeration is limited, or if the soil is saturated for prolonged periods of time, nitrification rates will decrease. And just like with mineralization and immobilization, water is needed for this reaction because these microorganisms, just like you and I, need water to survive. The optimal rate or amount of water is at or just slightly above field capacity, just like for immobilization and just like for mineralization. And the last factor that affects nitrification is soil pH. Nitrification can occur over a wide range of pH values, 5 to 9. If you go back in your notes and you look at the diagram, it was a color diagram of pH versus nitrogen and other elements availability. And you look at the bar and it's wide in the center, and it tapers off towards the ends. One of the reasons why it tapers off towards the ends is because of pH and the effect on nitrification. The optimal pH is about 8, and above 8, this inhibits nitrobacter activity. And so above 8, sometimes you can see actually this reaction or these series of reactions bottlenecking after the first step. And it can bottleneck, and you can actually increase the nitrate concentration, and the nitrite is not readily converted to nitrate because of the reduction in nitrobacter. Now, this X is a little extreme. Nitrobacter will be present, and it will convert nitrite to nitrate. The reaction rate, though, may be lessened because of simply less activity of this microorganism.